Welcome to the Get Tailored podcast. Join us as we explore insightful conversations on professional organizing, tackling both internal and external chaos, and discovering the transformative power of clarity and purpose in every aspect of life. If you're loving what you hear, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our channel. Hey there! This is Get Tailored with Nicole Taylor, and I'm your host, and thank you for joining us. If you like our content and enjoy what we have to say and our conversations, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'm hoping that out of all of this podcast will make a difference in the world, and I'm just so thrilled and excited to see where it goes. So thanks for joining us. My first guest today is Deborah Oso. Deborah, she and I work together. We're both professional organizers in the Phoenix area. And I'm just super excited to share with the audience and anyone who's listening about our story, about how we got started and how things are going. So welcome, Debbie.
Good morning.
I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
It's going to be a cool conversation. I'm just really thrilled about where this can go. But before we get into it, I kind of want to share a little bit about my history, about how I got into organizing, and basically just kind of showcase why I'm doing what I do. So I've been professionally organizing for about 15 years. Absolutely love organizing. I kind of naturally came into it as a younger person, probably in my early 20s. I really loved the process of organizing, but it didn't really come to me very quickly. I started cleaning homes, actually, and realized through that process that there was a lot of disorder and things I had to clean around. So naturally, you can see the problem of like wanting to do a really thorough job cleaning and just making sure that, you know, I'm doing the best that I can. But the problem is I kept on running into these major piles of things on counters and tables and beds and whatnot. And so I just started, for one client that I had back in the day, just started sorting things and kind of making, I don't know, nice piles of things. And so it's just funny how like, oh my gosh, I really like this. Like I really enjoyed the process of like putting like items together or color coordinating things. Like, but then I was realizing I'm not getting paid for that, right? So I decided, I was like, well, maybe I could add the organizing piece of it as a different service, as well as cleaning. And so that's kind of how that developed. And then I eventually realized I don't like cleaning. I love to organize. I can clean, don't get me wrong, but it's something that I don't have a passion for. And so I want to kind of dive in deep a little bit about this passion, because this is the heart of everything for me, right? So when I started organizing, and I really started focusing on it at this point in my career, I would go into a place like a new home. I would call it consultation walkthrough. And it's so funny because I started developing out these, patterns or processes, if you will, mental processes to really identify like, okay, how can I fix this problem? So I go into this room, okay, cluttered. You can't see the floor. You don't even know what half the stuff is. And this is funny because people think I'm crazy, which is fine. I absolutely love the idea of seeing chaos because I can see freedom. Because people are like, well, how can you fix this problem? I'm like, I close my eyes and then I open them, and in my mind, I can see how to fix it. Like that's just a thing. I don't know. And I started really. And I don't know how it happened, but it just came to me naturally, where I was able to just close my eyes and then open them and be like, I know what to do. And so I would just start implementing these natural abilities, if you will, skill sets that I obviously have now over time. I grew them, or they developed, and it just kind of came about into this process that I started with. So. Anyway, that is my passion. My passion is to really kind of see freedom for people. And I want to use one example before we get to Debbie here, is I kind of like the idea of like if we shut all the lights out in here and it was pitch dark and someone turned on a flashlight and all you can see is that your eyes gravitate to the light, obviously, right? And that's kind of what I want to do in my journey with people is allow them to see the light through the darkness, because I like to put myself in their shoes, in my clients' shoes, and in the people that I work with to really start to see the end of the tunnel. And that's like the best part of it for me, and kind of that's the reward, right? And so I just am loving it so much. Like, I'm living my dream, and I'm hoping that this will, allow people to be free from whatever their chaos is in their lives. So anyway, that's what this is about. And I'm so excited. So Debbie, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're here.
Thanks.
So it's been what? It's been since October
of last year.
Of last year since we started working together. So tell me what your experience is like. Let's get down to like when we got started. So
okay. Well, we have a mutual acquaintance. Your friend, my nurse practitioner, was very instrumental in introducing us, because I told her that my next step was to maybe start my own organizing business. And so she put us together. When you and I met, I walk into the coffee shop and here she is with her hair down. Well, actually it's on this side and mine's on this side. And we introduced ourselves and I said, we have the same haircut. I mean, like, how weird is that? I mean, we just connected right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even when I was talking with you on the phone, and my purpose was to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And, so because I've never owned a business before, so you were gracious enough to meet with me, but cautiously proceeding through the conversation because, as you explained, you don't want to give away all of your tricks of the trade and whatever, because I was wanting to shadow you.
Yeah.
And by the end of the conversation, you asked me to start contracting with you. And then, so I've, got an LLC with my own company name, but you and I have agreed I'm going to work with you for 2 years and perhaps we become partners.
Woo!
It's looking that way.
Yes, it is. You are on that track, Miss, for sure. And I wanted to kind of speak a little bit about my experience with you in the beginning stages. Yes, I was super cautious because I've had people in my past business experiences of trying to take what I've built and take and steal it from me. And so I had a lot of hesitancy. I was very like, okay, who is this lady? And it came from, being that Mary Beth, my best friend, introduced us, I had obviously a little bit more trust in that because I know Mary Beth really well. I did kind of have that hesitancy. I was like, well, I'll talk to her, but no promises. Like I was just kind of like held back quite a bit. But, I think what happened in that first meeting, it was like we had such a kindred spirit of a sense of just kind of, it was so weird. I don't even know how to really explain it thoroughly, but I felt like it was just so natural for us to just, and then you and I are now just like two peas in a pod organizing stuff. Like, and organizing the pod sometimes, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's been really fun to kind of get to know you and kind of get to like really dive deep into some really interesting client stuff going on, like helping people.
What sealed it for me was, as we were talking, you shared that it's your mission, to set people free. Yeah. And like you just explained, to show that light in their darkness. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into it that I'm learning a lot about now that I had no idea that was there. But people are disorganized for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
And but you said, I want to be able to get to a point where I can give away my services.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, all right, we're in.
Yeah. Well, I think because I have such a passion for individuals who are in a very tight spot when it comes to their home life, because any time of chaos, physical chaos you have in a home will immediately and automatically affect other parts of your life. I mean, it just does. I do really want to get to a place where I can give back to those who are less fortunate, to those who really need a step up in their life. Mm-hmm. Because if they can get, and I'm as a disclaimer, I am not a psychotherapist. I am not a therapist. I'm not trained. I'm not in that field per se. I work with physical chaos. I work with the outside. What you see is what you get. Like that's kind of what I work with. And so when I love the idea of having an opportunity to set people free if they're willing. And again, it comes to willingness. I mean,
and see that resonated with me because while I was on vacation, I helped my sister's friend organize just a few closets, and she said, "Deb, I feel free. I feel like so much that I have so much room."
Yeah.
And then she texted me when I got back home. She texted me. She said she was very proud of herself because she had taken something out of a Lazy Susan that we had set up, and she put it back right in the spot that it belonged because we had organized and done a couple of Lazy Susans. And I says, "We're going to label this." And she said, "Why? It's clear and I can see what's in there."
Sure.
I said, "Yeah, but you're going to see medicine, and you're going to have the medicine in your hand, and so you will go to that carousel,
sure.
to that Lazy Susan instead of the other one which had supplements."
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So
right.
she, okay, all right, let's label them. And anyway, I didn't realize how much it does free a person, except personally. I had gone through a renovation at my house.
Yeah.
And I lived through it.
Those
of you that have done
hard.
that. Yeah.
Hard.
I lived in the house while they did the renovation.
So was it like every room or did they?
Every single room.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The whole floor, everything. And then later on did the outside. But the idea, it gave me freedom, and I didn't recognize it until later on, starting to work with some clients and seeing, oh yeah, I understand that. Yeah. I get that because I have a place there. Everything has a place and a place for everything.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's funny how I work at my house. Like if it's out of sight, out of mind, I don't think about it. But if it's right staring at me every single day, if I don't take care of it, I go crazy. I'm like, all right, I need to put that away. I need to do something with that box. I need to do, put those books away. And I'm pretty good at the normal, the minute laundry's done, I fold, put them away. Or, there's actually a load of laundry in my dryer right now, but we're not going to think about that. But so do you see what I mean? Like but I used to have, this is funny, and I'm going to, I'm going to show all my cards because why not, right? You're human. So like, What's interesting is a while back when I first started getting into organizing and really loving the process and starting to build my business around this, I had a don't ask, don't tell room. So it's like a room that had all the other things that went in it, like
don't ask, don't tell. Did this come out of was that the Clinton administration?
Right, exactly. So it was kind of like this, I don't know where that came from. It was like an out of sight, out of mind room. It was like, okay, I don't want to look at this item, so I'm just going to put it in this room, close the door, and it doesn't exist.
Right.
Like it's not there.
Right.
And so I did that for several years, and I realized there was about once a year I would have to go in that room and really deal with it. And I hated that process. I was like, today's the day I have to tackle the room, and you open the door and you just shut it and like, nope, not going to do that today. So like I use that as an example of what happens with our clients because it's so easy to just like, if there's a room in your house that you don't use but for storage, a lot of times people do that in their garages. They don't even use their garages for their cars.
Right.
They use
Mine
it as
was like that.
was a storage unit. There was this ad a marketing ad I was making one day, and it said, "Are you tired of using your garage as a storage unit? Call Tailored to You and we will fix you right up." Like, you know what I mean? But people do. It's crazy, especially here in Phoenix. Holy cow. It gets hot, man. Like, imagine if you just like every time you get in your car, you're just blistering because of the heat but again, that's what we do. We help people with these problems. You know what I mean? So, but I wanted to ask you, so tell me a little bit about what was your favorite project up to this point? Like what are the things that you really love, and maybe kind of dive in deep with me and
it's still ongoing. There's a pause right now because this client is having their floor replaced, and that is morphed into basically a whole house renovation. So the transformation from where she was until now is going to be just off the chain.
Off the charts.
So yeah, off the charts.
Woo!
So that is my favorite project so far because it has taught me so much. She is a collector of things. She's an accumulator.
She's a master collector.
She's a master collector. So there's several areas where she collects things and she has an abundance of things. And so just having the patience with her, because that's where she is.
Sure.
And I don't want to change who she is. I want her to be able to see that, oh, if I reduce my clothing from what it is now to something that is more manageable,
yeah, how
much freedom that gives.
Sure.
And so we've seen some of that, or she has seen some of that already, just clearing the rooms. And there was a time that she just put her arms out and she said, you know, I just have, there's just so much space. And my pets, she has cats. They were just scurrying around and just
kitty.
having
I love
having so much freedom themselves, and that brought her joy.
Yeah.
So it's not about getting all of it done now. If it was for me, then I would be tackling one right after the other and getting it done.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Let's just charge through this thing.
Yeah.
But it's not that simple. Because she's been collecting things for a very long time.
Yeah.
And she's gotten used to that. So now it's, okay, let's get used to having space and knowing where things are. That was a comment that she made to me. She said, you know, I know where my Band-Aids are now.
Right. Even the simplest things,
yeah,
you know, like things that you don't think about until you absolutely need them. And you're like, damn. Where did I put that, you know, that pin that I was using for this over here, whatever.
Like most of us, she would have 2 or 3 places where she would, because she had cats, she had lint rollers.
Yeah.
She had lint rollers in every room.
Yeah.
And I said, honey, if you just have them in one place, then you always know where they are.
Yeah.
She reluctantly let me put them all in the laundry room. And, you know, later on, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that works.
Well, the consolidation process is really fun for me because it's like, oh, okay, I have a whole room of things, and I'm going to pick one item out of this entire room that I see one or more of, and then I'm just going to collect them and put them in this corner. And then, you know, I mean.
Well, and that's something that you and I have talked about. Like, she gets excited when she sees chaos.
Oh, I love it.
I
absolutely love it. I'm like, this is a dream. And people think I'm crazy, but that's okay because I know how to fix it.
Yeah.
I close my eyes. I just have that process in my head and I open them. I'm like, okay, this is where we're going to start. And it's just boom, boom, boom. You know, it's just kind of like, it's like building a house and you're with bricks and you have to start with the foundation first.
Right.
And then you have a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. And before you know it, you have walls. And then you have a roof. And so to me, it's kind of like that. You just got to take it one piece at a time, one item at a time. And before you know it, you have it all.
See, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I see an elephant.
You're scared.
I'm scared.
It's not gonna hurt you. The elephant is not gonna hurt you.
But there's a thing about how do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time.
Bite at a time.
So then it takes me a little bit longer. I was on a consultation with her. The space was chaotic. It was the children's room, and they had crafts in there. They had every doll imaginable and doll houses, and it was all just scattered all over the floor. And my eyes are just getting bigger and bigger. And you're excited.
Oh, yeah.
Not me. I'm like, oh, I'm glad she has that job.
No, but when I started that job, that was really fun for me because, I mean, it was crazy. And I like working with kids. Kids are really fun to work with because they they're almost sometimes easier just because you're like, okay, guys, we're going to find all the dolls. Go pick all the dolls up and put them in this bin, And the same with Legos and the same with whatever type items. And so the process for them was fun because they, and they know that nowadays kids' toys are crazy. They have so many different names. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
Remember we were using Google Lens?
Oh my gosh.
Because she's, I know the name of this doll, but you know what it is? We use Google Lens. And then,
oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't make the dolls they did in my age.
No.
My gosh. I used to have this little baby doll. We'd call it New Baby because it smelled so new.
Oh.
It smelled like that plastic that you get when it's brand new out of the manufacturing or whatever.
Don't let me get into all the chemicals that were used to do that, and you give that to a child to
let me smell it. Do all my anyway.
I don't want to go in that rabbit hole.
Exactly.
But you bring up a point too that sometimes people think that when somebody is going to come and help them organize, sort things out and everything, that they're going to do all the work.
Sure.
But what we've talked about is that the client has to be involved 100%. Very much with it.
Yeah.
So that we can get an understanding of how they operate.
Yeah.
Because it's how we operate. If we set it up that way, well, then we'll function very well in that room, but they won't.
Right.
An example is in my own home. My son lives with me and pays my mortgage. And I have bins above the refrigerator that one's for paper, one's for writing things, one's for sharp things, and one's for miscellaneous.
Okay.
He never puts the sharp things are always in the pencil or
Are
whatever.
they labeled? Did you label?
They're labeled.
They're all labeled?
Yes, they're all labeled. So this works for me, but it does not work for him.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you said that, because a big reason why I named my business Tailored to You is I like to create spaces and ways of organizing that is tailored to the client. Because at the end of the day, I leave. I could do it the way I would do it at my house, but
and see, that's what you've been teaching me.
Yeah.
That's what I've been learning from you.
And just being open, because I feel like sometimes organizers have a bad rap when it comes to having a certain way of doing everything, and everything is, it's like OCD on steroids, right? It's like, oh my God, everything has to be this way and that way, and A-type personalities come out like crazy, and then all of a sudden you have this freaking crazy this battle between yourself of what's right and what's wrong, and I'm just like, no. Get rid of that stuff. That's not what it's about. It's okay, sit down with your client. Let's talk about who they are, what they want. And obviously they want to see a transformative space, but how do we get there? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then work with them as far as, okay, learn who they are. What are their routines? When they wake up in the morning, what is the first thing that they go to and they can't find? Mm-hmm. So that's a problem I want to fix. I'm like, all right, well, every time I wake up and I can't find my coffee cup, well, that's a problem. Mm-hmm. Because everyone knows Nikki needs her coffee. And it's true. It's like, if I couldn't find my coffee cup, I would probably just go back to bed, because what's the point? So does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Getting back to those, getting back to the basics of their functionality. And that's kind of where my
and I found myself reflecting, I want to do it a certain way. And then you realize that, no, the client doesn't operate that way.
Sure.
In some instances, it can be frustrating.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's caused me to look deeper and to then turn it into compassion for that person.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what I don't know. That's where the psychology comes in, and something that I'm learning to do.
Learning.
It's good to reflect, to examine yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have these expectations, and then it's like, wait a minute, you used to.
Yeah.
In your past life or whatever. So our own past experiences, and we've talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
It really plays an important role in helping others.
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to probably cut this short here, but I've really enjoyed chatting with you today.
Sure.
I mean, you and I could go on a tangent for the rest of the day.
We didn't talk over each other too much.
No, actually, we did a good balance.
Usually when we're over coffee, the two of us are talking at the same time.
I'm talking.
And then one or the other will go, wait, what'd you just say?
Wait, back up. But anyway, thanks, Deb, so much for coming. Right. And thanks again for joining us. Please subscribe, hang out with us. Again, we're going to be here, for the duration of my life. We'd love to see you again, so thanks a lot. If you're loving what you've heard today, be sure to hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and share this episode with your friends. We're here to bring you more valuable tips and inspiring stories, and we would love for you to be a part of our journey. Your support means the world to us. Let's keep the conversation going.